Hi, and welcome to video number 3. In this video, you get to learn how to research your market and your competition. Now, in video number 2, you learned how to determine your skills and what you're good at. Now, we didn't really talk about, different types of markets. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk about potential markets just to give you some ideas, but we're also going to talk about researching your market in a little more depth and how to find your market and how to find your competition. Because you want to make sure that if you do go into a market, there is competition, but there's not too much competition. So there's a difference there. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, I briefly mentioned this a while back. You want to think of, is it online or offline? Online basically means that your clients are worldwide. Because if you think online, you think worldwide. Less money, most likely, but not always. That doesn't always mean that, you're going to make less money, especially if you get into a tightly focused niche. But let's say if you're the best of the best, of course you can charge more money. But let's assume that you're not the best of the best and you're just getting started. If that's the case, then with online consulting, you might make, $297 to $497 to $997, which is not bad. And most likely with online, you can get more clients. With offline, you got to do a little more convincing, but most likely your clientele has more money and they're not necessarily wanting to do, let's say, for example, marketing. So when you come in, marketing consultations, you can charge a little more money, a couple thousand here and there. So it's basically a give and take. You got to figure out, do you want to go online or do you want to go offline? It's okay to do both online and offline, but if you're starting out, you probably want to stick with one or two and test it out, see which one is more profitable for you, and then go with that specific one. You want to keep a balance. More competition, the better. More competition basically means that there is a buying market. If you go into a market where there's very little competition, then I want you to be aware that there might not be a lot of people purchasing or buying. So that might be an issue as well, because you don't want to educate your customers. And that's something that I did one time, and I made that big mistake by having to go through thinking, oh, there's not a lot of competition, but years later I realized that I had to educate the market. Now the market is good now, but at that time there wasn't a lot of competition. So you want to balance. You want to balance between a little bit of competition versus too much competition. Now, what I want to do now is give you a possible clientele list, like people that you could possibly do business with. Now, keep in mind that this is focused towards marketing consultations. Now, if you're doing other types of consultations, let's say website consultations, business-related consultations, this list will actually help you. But if you're doing something like skiing, you're good at skiing, or you're good at wrestling, consulting stuff like that, this clientele list probably won't do you a bit of a good. But just want to give you some ideas. Possible clients in terms of business clients and marketing business clients, you pretty much want to target people who have, a customer clientele that are paying them a lot of money. For example, plumbers. I know plumbers make a lot of money because every time they come and fix a house, it's about $200, $300 per visit. And recently, they fixed up a house, plumbers. They fixed up one of my relatives' houses. And because one of my relatives lived on a slab foundation and one of the pipes, the sewage pipes, were like leaking or something. So the plumbers had to come in and drill the foundation. It cost like $3,000. So think about the type of money that these clients are paying your business clients. So plumbers, definitely a good niche to go into. Electricians, definitely as well. Think about, houses, they have to replace lots of, wiring. Old houses have bad wiring, so they replace that kind of stuff. They earn about a couple thousand and more. You got contractors, you got loan brokers specifically when they, everybody's looking for a house. Not everybody, but a lot of people are still looking for a house in this market. In fact, loan brokers, they earn about 1 to 2% origination fee. So what that is for every person that they find, they earn about, think about anywhere from $1,000 to a couple $1,000 per loan. So if you're a marketing consultant and you're bringing leads to a table, let's say 10 of those leads out of the 100 leads convert, these loan brokers are making about $10,000. So think about what kind of fees you could charge them. Dentists, they make good money. Lawyers especially, yes, definitely. You could go into niches of lawyers like, cosmetic lawyers, things like that. Litigators, trial lawyers, attorney of law and criminal lawyers, real estate lawyers, specific niches. Roof companies make really good money. Bathroom remodelers, realtors, definitely. Because realtors, like I talked about earlier, most of them take about a 6% cut, especially the listing agent. So if you have, a listing agent and realtor, they get 6%. They cut that. So each realtor is bringing to the table, bringing home about a couple $1,000. Chiropractors, mechanics, car mechanics definitely make good money just because cars are always going to be breaking down. They're going to have a consistent amount of money. I consulted a mechanic company, car mechanic, and, at that time they weren't doing as well, but now they're just so packed that even when I go there, they're having to book me, appointment and stuff like that. So they're making good money with car mechanics. Counselors, different types of counselors, psychological counselors, they make really good money. Landscapers do as well. Window repair replacements, they definitely make good money. I can tell you that because each window, especially the new energy efficient windows, they're earning about $300 per window. So imagine if you get a client over, one client could pull in, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000. House repair types, moving companies, carpenters, and more. So that's just a brief list of people that you can potentially go after in terms of business consultations, marketing consultations, or anything like that. Now, what are people buying? So this part of this video is going to help you figure out what kind of services you want to provide, because you already know what you're good at. So you want to figure out what kind of services you want to provide. Now, one good way of figuring out what people are buying is by going to Amazon.com books. I like books because books is a great way to figure out, especially do-it-yourself books. But books in general, books, audiobooks can help you figure out, is there a big buyer's market out there for that specific niche? Now, of course, you're doing consulting work, but think of the books like they're sort of like consultants. So they're consulting these people, but of course you're consulting the businesses. Therefore, the businesses are, helping these people. So think of books like a way to figure out if there's a buyer's market. Barnes & Noble's books is also good. Barnes & Noble's, if you don't know, it's similar to Amazon.com, but it's basically a bookstore. Apple Books, you could go to the iTunes store, Apple store, figure out what kind of things people are buying. And you want to ask yourself, are there a lot of books being bought on that specific subject matter? So, for example, if I was running a marketing company or a marketing consulting company, and I was specifically targeting, let's say, plumbers, and I want to consult. I want to be the marketing consultant of plumbers in a specific area. You could do research on, plumbing, things like that. Now, there are two views, two different perspectives. You could study the plumbing and different types of plumbing to understand, what kind of needs they have. But primarily for yourself, if you're creating, a list of services, you can do research on, is this marketing consultant service going to really work? Or is this skiing consultant service going to work? So you could see it in two different lights. Okay, so right now I'm located at Amazon.com, and what I want to do is basically do some research. So I'm going to go look in their book department, and let's say, for example, that I want to do some sort of consulting in the market of, let's just do marketing consultant for now, consultants. Now, the good thing about Amazon is it lists what it sells the most from the top to the bottom. So as you can see here, guerrilla marketing for consultants, getting clients, and so forth. Now, another thing you can do with Amazon is if you type in the word consultant, you can kind of get a good idea of what kind of consulting gigs and consulting subject matters are out there. So if I put in consult, it also gives me different services and things like that are provided by consulting. And another good thing is if you want to do some research, let's say for your client, then you can say like plumbing. What kind of plumbing category? What is selling from top to bottom? So what is the highest demanded things from top to bottom? So Amazon is a good tool to use. Barnes and Noble